Welcome, sports fans, and thank you for dropping by the video. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Mike Davis of DocSports.com. I am one of the top NBA handicappers in the world, and today I'm going to share with you some NBA betting tips. Okay, let's jump right into this. I'm going to jump around a little bit. You can take notes or whatever you feel is important for you. But I'm going to jump around a little bit here. But one place I want to start is I want you to bet on what you know, not what you don't know. In other words, I want you to find some teams that you know how they're going to play night in and night out. Now, obviously, their shots may not fall every single night. They're not going to win every single game, but you know what you can expect from them night in and night out. So that takes the guesswork right out of it. You don't want to be guessing which team is going to show up. You know what you're going to get night in and night out. So you want to follow some teams. You want to get to know them. You want to watch these games. You want to know their rotations. And you want to know that they're going to work hard and come to play night in and night out. An example of some of those teams this season, the San Antonio Spurs. After a sluggish start, they play hard every single night. Their rotation is solid right now. They know what to expect from each individual player, and this team's going to play hard every single night. The shots don't always fall, but they play hard every single night. Some other teams I really like the way they play this season. The Indiana Pacers, you can say the same thing about them with the San Antonio Spurs, and the Denver Nuggets. These teams, especially Indiana and Denver, have overachieved a little bit this year, and a lot of that is due in large part to the fact that they play hard every single night. You know what you're going to get out of them. They're not going to cover the spread every single night, but they play hard every single night. Makes it easier for you to handicap teams like that rather than teams you don't know which team's going to show up. Let me give you an example of some teams that you don't know which team's going to show up. What about the Washington Wizards this year? Do you have any idea which team's going to show up on a nightly basis? The answer is no. Or at least I don't. I can only speak for myself. So having said that, why would I bet with the Wizards or against the Wizards? Hell, I don't know which team's going to show up on a nightly basis. So the point of this first bullet, the bullet point I'm making right now is bet on what you know, not what you don't know. Let's get to our second bullet point, folks. And again, I'm jumping around here. These are not in any order. So take them for what they're worth. Keep a close eye on situations. Keep a close eye on situations. Some examples of this. Is there a very good team that's coming off of a loss? Is there a very good team that's coming off a loss? You feel like they're going to be motivated. They're extremely motivated tonight. Whether they're on the road, whether it's the back-to-back, whatever the situation is, they're coming off a loss and they're looking for some redemption, if you will. That's just one example of a situation. Another situation, I'll think back to a couple of nights ago. How about Golden State going into Denver a couple of nights ago? Denver was a half a game up on Golden State. Golden State had been playing better basketball as of late. Denver hadn't been playing. They've been playing good, but they'd introduced Will Barton back into the lineup. They lost at Phoenix a few nights earlier. They didn't look great against Portland in a victory. And Golden State motivated, a motivated Golden State team going into Denver looking to make a statement. So that's another example of a situation. You want to take advantage of situations. Okay, let's get to another bullet point. Injuries. You have to keep an eye on injuries because injuries, whether a person's coming back from an injury or whether a person is injured that night, questionable, you don't know if they're going to play or you know they're out. Keep an eye on injuries. This information changes from day to day, and not only that, it changes from hour to hour, so you have to keep an eye on it during the day as well. A lot of times when a player, an established player is coming back, it takes a minute to get him acclimated back into the rotation. I mentioned Will Barton earlier. I'll use him again here. He hasn't exactly excelled since coming back for Denver so far, but he's one of their top three players. And once he gets back into the rotation, they've had some injuries this year. Once all of those guys get back into the rotation and you start knowing, they start fitting in, you start knowing what you're going to get on a nightly basis. Denver will be a team certainly to watch moving forward. But know your injuries all the way up until game time. Watch your injuries. Having said that, also watch line movements. Okay? If you see a line drop 4 points, you automatically know, Kawhi Leonard's out. Joel Embiid's not playing tonight. Keep an eye on this stuff. There's a reason these lines move. A lot of people say, well, somebody made a big bet in Vegas. Maybe, but for the most part, if they move that much, we're talking about a half point then, but if they move that much, it's because there's an injury. So keep an eye on injuries throughout the day. Here's another bullet point, folks. Don't be afraid to take chances. Hell, we all know. Hey, listen, I don't want to make a living trying to bet against Golden State, or trying to bet against Denver, or trying to bet against Toronto, or the Celtics, or Philadelphia. Nobody wants to do that. But you can't be afraid to go with your read. Okay? I'll give you an example. Houston Rockets, red hot a while back. They're still playing good even though they are decimated with injuries. Their roster is not very good right now. But they're still playing good because of James Harden. What happened a little while back? They won on the road at Golden State. James Harden makes a three at the buzzer in Draymond Green's eye. Okay? You remember this game. They have a day off, and then they go to Portland. Okay, well, what about Portland? What were they doing? The night before they were playing Houston, or going to play Houston, they played Oklahoma City and lost a heartbreaker. I mean a heartbreaker. So, here's the situation. You have Golden State coming into Portland, Houston coming into Portland off of a big win at Golden State that saw them win at the buzzer. A lot of emotion wrapped up in that game, and you got a pissed off Portland team coming back the night afterwards. So we don't want to make a habit of going against Houston and teams like that, especially teams that are red hot, but go with what you know. Trust your instincts and bet on that team. We played Portland that night, and it was an easy victory. Also, folks, I want to talk a little bit, and I don't want to get into this too much, but money management, the bullet point here is simple. Bet what you can afford and don't chase. Do not chase. When you chase, you lose. It's just that simple. Bet what you can afford. If your big play that night is in a 7 o'clock game and you lose it, there's no reason to bet a 10 o'clock game. You're chasing at this point. Unless you have two plays that night that you really liked. One of them happened to be at 7. One of them happened to be at 10. Get both bets in at the same time. Do not chase. Use your money management. That is one of the biggest tips I can ever give anybody, and it applies to all sports, not just the National Basketball Association. And one other quick tip, and again, I'm not going to go over everything in this video. I just wanted to give some talking points for you. One other thing I can tell you is when you're going back and looking at past results, well, somebody may say, well, so-and-so's beating so-and-so. Let's just say this is just hypothetical now. This hadn't really happened. Let's just say Golden State's beaten, let's don't use Golden State. Let's say the LA Lakers have defeated the Houston Rockets 10 straight games. Okay, or they defeated them the first 3 games this season, whatever it may be. Go back and look and see who played in those basketball games. Go a step further than that. Go and look and see, well, how was Houston playing into that game? Had they played the night before? Did they have a big game looming the day after? Know all of this stuff. Don't just look at past results. Well, the Lakers won 120-103. They really beat the piss out of Houston. Okay, but go back and know the situation. Did Chris Paul play? Did James Harden play? What was their rotation like? Did they have a big game on the road the night before? Were they looking forward to a big game the next night in San Antonio? Know all of the situations. I think that's a lot of preaching so far. I've yelled into the microphone. I hope I've given you some pointers that you can use. Again, these are just very few things that you can use on a daily basis. Take notes, use your matchups, and at the end of the day, use this and use these. Watch the games. Know the rotations. Use your brain. Don't be afraid to take chances. And, of course, use all of the information available to you. And if that seems a bit too much for you, make sure you jump over to DocSports.com. Come grab my NBA package. I guarantee you will see a profit by the end of this season. We're rocking and rolling right now. Again, another big winning NBA season coming off the #1 NBA season last year. So come on over to DocSports.com. If you go over right now, use the code MikeD15. You get 15% off an NBA package. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to give you some talking points, some pointers. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a big thumbs up. That's what I have for you, folks. Everybody have a great and profitable NBA season.